ZBrush has a useful set of plugins for hard surface editing. Reduce your poly count and maintain form with Decimation Master. Decimation Master is a popular and incredibly useful to ZBrush users. Its settings include freeze border for maintaining position of your open edges, keep UVs for maintaining UVs, using keep polypaint for keeping your polypaint information, along with polypaint weight slider that allows you to prioritize your polypaint info over geometric info. Below that, preprocess current will process your current subtool, while preprocess all will do all your subtools. Save this for when you're more comfortable with Decimation Master. The current subtool has over 790,000 polys. Press preprocess current. This will take longer depending on your mesh's density. Once done, you have many options for decimating your model. The Decimation Master settings consist of several methods of reducing your poly count. The first slider sets a percentage to reduce by, the second slider sets a poly count, and the third sets a value by points. Below the decimate buttons are poly count presets to choose from, along with a custom poly count slider. Choose from any of these methods, then press the decimate current button. Once done, your poly count will be reduced and your mesh converted to triangles. Mask intersecting models with Intersection Master. Intersection Master requires watertight meshes, so press the Close Holes button to prep your mesh. Once done, add or intersect meshes within your single subtool. Use your Transpose tool or Gizmo 3D to ensure that they are embedded. Once done, click the single button in the Intersection Master plugin to perform masking. Once again, the time to process depends on your poly counts of your meshes. Once finished, use your selection tools to hide meshes to reveal the mask created on all intersecting meshes. This can be used along with masking options to sculpt on your meshes. Draw out your polygroups with PolyGroupIt. In order to use PolyGroupIt, solo view of subtool and select the paintbrush. Next, stroke your model with the color white to set your base color. Next, select black and begin tracing your edges to draw your polygroups. Try using the PG paintbrush variant included. Also hold shift to trace straight edges. Sped up to show the entire process of tracing the entire sculpted subtool. This process is still fairly quick, simple, and very accurate. Switch to the color white to erase your black lines, or simply undo your last stroke and repeat as I do. PolyGroupIt will only read polypaint to set polygroups, meaning you can offset your lines for better angles and straighter polygroups. After a while, it can feel a bit similar to the retopo process. The rear of this piece won't be seen and will be left as one large polygroup. When done, return to the PolyGroupIt menu and choose from two options for generating polygroups. Select PolyGroupIt from Paint and allow time for ZBrush to process. When finished, enable Polyframe to see your polygroups and you should see something like this. Disable Polypaint on your subtool, as well as switch back to the color white and view your polygroups in full glory. If we step back and choose the border option, ZBrush will polygroup your polypainted lines as well. ZBrush does so much with polygroups, and this is your ticket to generating clean, hard edge meshes and controlling their edges. In the next clip, we will conclude the course.